Welcome to Curious Caravan. I'm Jason, and with me is my co host Lizette. We're here to take you on a journey to America's most curious, quirky, and downright unforgettable spots.
Yep, so if you're into hidden gems, oddball attractions, and a little nostalgia, you're in the right place. Every episode, we're going to dive into a new destination that'll have you itching to explore, or at least give you a fun story to share.
So buckle up because we're about to take you off the beaten path of some of the weirdest and most wonderful places around. Let's dive right into Curious Caravan. Well, welcome back to another episode of Curious Caravan, our wonderful listeners. It's me, Jason, and we've got the lovely Lizette as always. So, Lizette, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How have you been?
I have been good, still recovering from our Sarasota, Florida adventure. To keep our listeners up to speed, Lizette, after we had our wonderful previous episode about Florida, could not resist coming down and visiting me in my hometown of Sarasota. So she left Dallas and flew down here for us to go on our own Florida adventure together.
We really took Curious Caravan to the next level, I would say.
We got the caravan part right.
We
And
did,
she
that's
certainly
for
was
sure.
curious. She certainly was curious. And it was super fun. I mean, so what did you think, Lizette, of the weather compared to Dallas here?
Honestly, Dallas had gotten a cold front that week, so thank God I was in warm weather with some beautiful breezes. And after that trip, I say this after every trip, I could move there. It was incredible.
When I tell you Lizette got the picture perfect Florida weather, it was 70, cool, perfect blue skies, sunny. You could not have asked for anything more during this trip. And we got to experience some really great local attractions here. And one of them being one that was a favorite of my childhood. So let's dive right into it, right, Lizette?
Yeah,
Um,
let's go.
so we kicked off our morning visiting the beautiful and ever so popular Ringling Museum of Art. Now, the Ringling Museum is the complex is the Ringling. We're talking, the Ringling Circus.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it is his mansion. It is a art gallery. It has gardens. And when I tell you it's right on the water, it's so beautiful. And it has so many cool different things across the estate. Um, Lizette and I were able to explore the gardens. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
different statues out there. Unfortunately, the rose garden, because of the time of year, we didn't even know it was a rose garden. I just thought it was a graveyard. But no, no roses right now.
It
But
was incredible still, honestly.
it really was. We started by touring the mansion, which is John Ringling's actual home. And
Mm-hmm.
when I tell you I would have loved to live there, holy cow.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
it was incredible. Honestly, I didn't have any prior knowledge to what I was stepping into when we went there. And I was surprised by how expansive it was, how honestly ornate his mansion was too. The architecture of it all, incredible. I'm not even a huge architecture fan, but I would want to get his name and number down if he were still alive and get him to build me a home.
I
It
mean,
was
so this,
beautiful.
I mean, this mansion, when we just to give you guys a picture it moment, it's right on the bay. It's
Hmm.
36,000 square feet. It's got 56 rooms. It was his winter home. It was built in 1926. I mean, it is absolutely stunning. And we went through the dining room, we went through the greeting room and the entryway. We got to see the ballroom. Uh,
The kitchens.
oh, the kitchens.
The kitchens were so old fashioned and I loved it. Oh, wow.
And they had it all set up where you could see it had all of their original china
Hmm.
and the casings. You could see where there was the different room service buttons. So when they were called to certain areas of the home, these different switchboards would light up, which I thought was really, really cool.
Same.
They had his John John Ringling's neckties on display in one case, his different colored neckties, which he seemed to be a fan of cheetah print in different colors. But and just from, clocks and music boxes and gold plated um furniture. I mean, and gorgeous. I mean, they had what I was really impressed by were these floor to ceiling rugs. And when I say rugs, it's these were like tapestries that were hung on the walls. And
Hmm.
they had the original ones in there, all depicting different settings and animals and landscapes, which were absolutely amazing. Um,
Yeah,
it truly, I mean, I'm so happy we did it. It's additional price if you guys go, if you ever want to go. But it's really well worth the tour. It only takes 15-20 minutes for you to walk through it. And what they have is if you get in there with your phone, you can scan a QR code and you can actually listen and do an audio guided tour as you go through it. And it will give you insights to the different rooms and the different artifacts and antiques on display. It's really worth the detour and the time.
I would say. And honestly, it was kind of nice to step back into history and be able to view the furniture and the crown moldings. This is sounding so weird. So maybe I am an architecture nerd. The crown moldings, incredible. And do you remember when we got to see a sneak peek into that little bar room? I thought the bar top and the wood carvings of it, beautiful. I I was like, oh, this takes me, well, it doesn't take me back because I wasn't around back then.
But it's
But
totally Great Gatsby. Like it's totally like the
yes, a
Great
hundred
Gatsby
percent.
vibes.
That is the perfect way to describe this place because honestly, even the back view, like where you could kind of have the patio, I'm saying patio, but it's really huge. It's almost like you could have an entire ball right there. Um, that was so Gatsby. I was like, where's that green light? Looking over the water. It was
I know.
incredible.
It was really awesome. And then at the complex as well, we went to the Circus Museum, and
Yes.
that was really neat to see how the circuses were performed back then. So the Circus Museum has tons of costumes, performer trinkets, everything that they utilized during the heyday of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. I mean, it is
Yeah.
amazing. They had the original ticket booth
Oh,
there
that
that
was
was so
cool.
cool. So you could look inside and see how they used to sell the tickets. They had the
The
train
train
car.
car. Yeah.
So the Ringlings had their own personal train car where they would travel across the country and they actually restored the entire train car, and you could see it from the living quarters to the kitchens, the dining quarters, completely restored. Really, really, really cool. And also cool literally because there's so many artifacts in there that they have to keep preserved. That museum is freezing. So if
Yes.
you go and visit, I would 100% bring a sweater or something because it's crispy in that
So
museum.
crispy. I think my
Um,
favorite part of that, Jason, was even reading up on it, how one of the investors had bought the car so they could get there quicker and more efficiently. So
mhm.
I thought that was such an interest because again, I hadn't done any prior research. I just wanted to go in kind of blind to this and see what the history was about, what I could learn and garner from this. And they were, I'm gonna say it, they were a little cramped in those train cars, wouldn't you think? Because I know I'd be a little claustrophobic.
When I was looking at the train car, I kept thinking it looked almost miniaturized in a way. I was like, I don't
Right.
know. I was like, I don't even think I'd fit on that bed. I mean,
Same.
I was like, I think my was kind of giving me like, I mean, the best way to picture it is like the Alice in Wonderland like vibe. Like I've somehow grown inside the house and now it's just a little too small.
Yes,
It was a very yeah, it was a little tiny for me. I couldn't imagine crossing the country in that. Um,
exactly. Close
to go back,
quarters for sure.
yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It was really interesting to me going back to the white ticket wagon. That was actually built in 1911,
Oh, wow.
which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Um, I really liked the Ringling Family Galleries, which took you through like everything from the 1880 all the way through the 50s. The
Mhm.
wagon room was really cool. Um, that was the one that had the rail car, which is called the Wisconsin, by the way. But it also
Mhm.
had this really cool display of wagon wheels, like colorful painted wagon wheels on
Yes.
the wall. That was really neat. And Lizette, I know that you were really amazed by the unicycle, the really tall
The
unicycle.
the unicycle was like it felt like 20 feet and I
Yeah,
was so short.
they had the original unicycle in there, which was interesting. I really enjoyed looking at the colorful costumes they had on display.
Oh,
They had a
those were
lot of the original
incredible.
costumes in there, which I thought was really, really neat.
I need to sew you one. To this day, I need to sew you one.
I don't know if I would look that great in it. Um, and there
I
was
think you would.
also really, really cool, like original circus posters and the artwork, and
Hmm.
the ads that they ran for the circus and images of people waiting to get in the circus. I mean, this was like the event
Yeah.
back in the day, which was really such a cool thing. If you go to the museum, please make sure you take a pass through the circus because that is a must.
Yes,
And then
definitely.
there also was, well, there's the art museum itself, which
Hmm.
is huge. Um,
Huge.
and we went on a Tuesday in the morning and there was like nobody in it. I felt like you could totally get lost in there. Super, super quiet, gorgeous. I mean, the galleries in there though are
Yes.
absolutely stunning.
Gothic
Um,
style. It was incredible. Honestly, that one I would say you can't spend 15, 20 minutes. That one feels like a full day experience if you're into art galleries. Just because,
Absolutely.
yeah, it had things from religious paintings that are done really well in that Gothic style. And then they had even statues. It was incredible.
There's
It was
21
beautiful.
galleries, and it
Hmm.
actually opened up to the public back in 1932. But I mean, it's got everything from the big paintings you were talking about, Lizette. Those really huge
Huge.
paintings were actually,
Renaissance, I think, maybe.
well, they were by Flemish master Peter Paul Rubens, and they're part of his, they were created for the elite royal audience, apparently.
Wow.
And they do look royal, they're very regal.
They
Uh,
do.
but you're going to see everything from Gothic to Renaissance from Northern Europe. They have everything from the
Italian.
Italian art.
They do not
Listen,
have modern stuff. I will say that. They had
well, no,
most things though. Yeah.
no modern art unless they're doing like a specific exhibit, which,
Yeah.
sometimes they do temporary exhibits that come in.
Hmm.
And that would be in one of their contemporary art galleries that they do. And those will rotate in and out. But we were more obsessed with that. And then the courtyard is
Stunning.
absolutely stunning. Gorgeous statues. They've got the iron bowl from that novel, Quo Vadis. They've got, replicas of the Statue of David, which I find very
Hmm.
interesting that
I thought the same thing.
they were obsessed with the ring with that. But it really is just an architectural showcase. I mean, bring your cameras, take pictures. It is absolutely a must visit if you're coming to Sarasota, Florida. It's
Yeah,
quintessential, I would call it.
100%.
Well, and then to continue our day after we did our dose of art, we went to one of my favorite places when I was a kid, and that was the
Jungle Garden.
Sarasota Jungle Gardens. Now, Sarasota Jungle Gardens, the best way to describe it is a off the beaten path, tiny little animal sanctuary type place. It was really popular in the 70s, 80s, 90s, but it opened up like way back in the day, like in the
1939, I think, is
yeah,
what it said.
1939, and then
Yeah.
kind of evolved. And this was a really interesting experience when we went because I think it was a really classic example of when you remember things from your childhood and then you go back as
Hmm.
an adult, it's so much different. And while this place is like very much evolved over the years, it really had changed based on when I had gone. Because the last time I went was when I was like 10 or 11. And I remember we would go and spend a whole Saturday there. Now it's much more of a place you could walk through like in less than an hour. But it's
Hmm.
really set up with you've got, your alligator area and they do an alligator show. They've got the reptile gallery with all the different
Hmm.
snakes that they do, and they do a snake show. They've got the bird macaw parrots and they do a little bird show, which is super, super cute. And you can, like, if you want to pose with the birds, you can. And then they have a walkway that takes you through Well, it's normally a jungle. And I will say Hurricane Helene and Milton really did a number
Yeah.
on our area. And so if you
Hmm.
were to go to Jungle Gardens now, just be prepared. There's a lot of things that are still under repair and construction, and a lot of the gorgeous trees, from the palm trees, the
Hmm.
mangroves, have kind of been cleared out a bit because of the storm. So I would say it's, if you were to call it Jungle Gardens, it's more like almost a Jungle Gardens. It's jungle adjacent. So not so jungle, but it's definitely worth, it's a charming place. I mean, it's so retro, I think you would say, right, Lizette? I mean, it's very
Yes.
got that retro vibe.
The
The architect.
alligator pit scared me, I will say. Alligator pits. Oh, I was like, oh.
Okay, but those weren't even like, let me tell you something. Like the alligators that were in this pit were like some of the smaller ones. If this Dallas girl doesn't know stuff about Florida gators, and let me tell you, these were
I don't.
not the Florida gators to be running from. And the one giant gator looked like he was like 8,000 years old and had been napping for the past decade. But they've got a charming gift shop. But when I say retro, I mean, it is that opening like building that you go into is so 1970s in terms of its
Yes,
like architecture and roofing. It's just got a really fun nostalgic vibe. I mean, it's great to go if you have kids to see
definitely.
the different shows. The flamingos, though, are like the star of the show. And it's really
Everywhere.
cool because they're everywhere. They're free roaming. You can feed the flamingos. And I mean, can you really come to Florida without seeing a pink flamingo? I don't think so. And they've also got gorgeous free roaming peacocks as well, which, Lizette, I know you took a real interest to.
I love the peacocks. They were so cute, just sunbathing, and one almost chased you at the end. I remember that just a little bit.
Yeah, I almost became peacock food. One decided I was just in its space, I think. It was too personal.
To be fair, I did want to grab it, and I think I was also kind of chasing it. So I hate to be a menace. I am so sorry, Jungle Gardens, for that.
Yeah, sorry.
Um,
So then, after our wonderful excursion into Jungle Gardens, we checked out, which is a highlight of Sarasota on Lido Key, St. Armands Circle. St. Armands
uh,
Circle is,
beautiful.
I would say, like the most charming beach shopping and dining destination. And when I say St. Armand Circle, it literally isn't a circle. You go around a huge circle. And I'm talking, it's Florida vibes. I mean, tropical, cute boutiques, cute little restaurants. It's home to, if you've never heard of the Columbia restaurant, really, really popular Florida restaurant for delicious food fusion. If you want paella, you want, chicken and
Oh,
rice, you
yes.
want black bean cakes. I mean, that is the place to go. We
Yes.
decided to go to be a little more tropical. We decided to dine at Cha Cha Coconuts, which
Oh,
is
yes.
known for their key lime pie. Listen, Key West, we get it. You're known for their pie. Cha Cha Coconuts is delivering on that level. Lizette got some delicious shrimp tacos that, when I
So, so
tell you,
yummy.
there was probably like six worth packed into three.
I was gonna
Uh,
say, I thought it was a great deal for the buck because, I usually get shrimp tacos and they understuff them. This was overstuffed to the brim in the best way possible.
I
So
got
good.
a absolutely delicious black bean chili that was, had some delicious sausage, and I spiced it up a bit, and that was nice. And, it's great because you can sit right on the street. You can watch all the shoppers. You can watch the cars passing by. It's great if you just want to sit out there, soak up the sun, and have a nice lunch or dinner. Definitely worth it. Check out Cha Cha Coconuts. We also checked out a lot of the cute boutiques that are down there and spent some time just exploring. It's definitely worth the stop.
So
And
worth it.
they've got great little sweet shops in there. You have to check it out. One of them has macarons, which are just in every flavor you could possibly imagine. Definitely
Incredible.
for some colorful sweets, check out these places. Definitely worth going to. But
Yeah.
yeah, you've got to go to St. Armand's. I mean, that is absolutely a spot. And next up, I think, Lizette, you've come to my hometown. I'm
Sarasota.
thinking I'm going to have to go to Dallas.
I will show you all the best eats, all the hidden gems, and just incredible finds of Dallas. And I would love to show you all around.
I think the Curious Caravan's going to have to go in the opposite direction coming up.
I agree.
I mean, so is there anything about like Sarasota, was that highlights of your trip that you thought,
My My favorite was the fact that we got to hit up all the main spots because whenever I go to Sarasota, I feel like it's always quick and I never get to hear about the history or the culture or just how it came to be. So Ringling was honestly my favorite. Even seeing how they were carving out wood structures while we were there was pretty neat to me. So I am taking that to the grave because I love that memory.
And one of the cool things in the Circus Museum in the Ringling is they actually have someone there doing restoration. So you can
Hmm.
watch antique restoration happening right in front of you in the Circus Museum, which is really, really cool. So there's always someone at work in there,
Yeah.
which is really neat. But yeah, so I hope you all enjoyed us sharing our little excursion in Sarasota, Florida. It's always nice to get together with my girl Lizette and having her actually be here in person so the Curious Caravan can actually get onto caravanning.
Ditto, honestly. It was so good to see you in person and to finally get out of the, screen of our
Dallas.
computers and Dallas.
Absolutely. Off the screen into reality. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in to Curious Caravan. Please give us a like, a listen, a comment, and subscribe. And you all have a wonderful week.
We'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. We hope you enjoyed the journey as much as we did.
Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review Curious Caravan on your favorite podcast platform. It helps more curious minds like you find us.
And if you're hungry for more weird and wonderful travel, follow us on social for extra content and behind the scenes sneak peeks.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep being curious, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Curious Caravan.